Hey everyone, it's Brad Kilgore here with another episode of America's Best Shops. I've got my partner in crime, Laura Southerly, with me today. Laura, how are you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Thanks for asking, Brad.
Good, good. That's great to hear. So, Laura and I have known each other for what, 10 years?
I know
16?
11.
11, 2015, 11 years. And so you think about, how things have changed just in the 11 years that we've known each other, where we both have owned marketing agencies and been on the front lines of helping businesses succeed when it comes to internet marketing and how they portray themselves online. And so I know if you were to take a step further, I've been connected to this industry about 20 years and Laura 25.
It's actually 28.
28 years. So things have drastically changed compared to, what we were doing back in the olden days, so to speak. And, now it's changing so rapidly because of how AI is baked into our lives and into our businesses and into our marketing. And so the whole goal every week is to bring you practical information of how you can increase business, of course, but how AI fits into all that. Because as we've said before, it's not going away. It's supercharged, meaning we're talking about 11 years and 20 years and 28 years. When you look at how things are going in relation to AI and how fast it's moving, my gosh, we've said this before, whether that's a week old or a month old, when it comes to some sort of an AI system or tool or platform, that's like you just can't believe how fast it's going because it's light speed. Would you agree with that, Laura?
Would it there every day there's a new rabbit hole, I guess, to explore. And so it's great that the value you're bringing to your viewers and listeners that they don't have to go through it. You get to elevate the stuff that actually will help small business owners.
Well, I appreciate that because, you know, a lot of the business owners that I talk to, shop owners, they know that they have to embrace AI to some level. A lot of them have, but sometimes it's just at the very, very basic way. And that's why, having somebody on your team that's trusted like Laura or I who live and breathe this stuff because it is much more technical and things that we deal with all the time versus a motorcycle shop or auto repair shop owner, for example. They're staying up to the latest on what they need to do to keep their shop going and to make everything work smoothly. So a lot of times people ask me, how can I leverage AI and how does it fit into content creation, whether that's for videos or content on social media, excuse me, or a blog posts, articles on their website, even website content. And that's where I think I have some good tips today to tell you how you can do it, what's important, and what will move the needle. So you have to think about, let's just say your ideal customer could find you more than one way. They may drive past your shop on the way to work or on the way to take their kids to basketball practice, or they may have heard about you from an associate or a family member, or possibly they found you on the internet. So you think about it, they can find you many different ways. You could be in a magazine, you could have a TV commercial, you could be any number of places. But where do the content ideas come from, and how can you make that powerful? Because we all know how important content is, no matter what medium or format it's in. I know Laura has some expertise when it comes to content creation. It's the lifeblood of showcasing your any type of business, right?
It absolutely is. And we're talking very successful business owners here, and your viewers and listeners are definitely probably thinking of stories of the last sale that they had, the last phone call they had, the last conversation. That is all content. So they can talk about what they were looking for, why they purchased, why they didn't purchase, why it was an ideal thing for them to have or not to have. Sometimes going both routes. A lot of people just say, "Hey, this is a great sale, thank you," but talk about what led to that sale, what led to that decision, that purchasing power. That's the content that it just starts to educate the buyers before they come in and get them excited as well. And they hear how, what to expect while working with you.
Right. I think you nailed it as far as some of those key points. If you think about content creation, let's just focus on written articles and video content because whether it's a written article or written piece of content or a video content, the main ways you would do it would be a success story or informational, educational, geographical. I mean, you just think about what would you talk about, what would you be showcasing, what would you be really highlighting. And so whatever medium it is, those are kind of the main ways to do it. I mean, you could certainly do it, you could certainly have other things in there as far as other things in the mix, but I mean, if you think about it, those are the key points. So where does AI fit into some of those things? Well, I like it because I can talk to my AI assistant, so to speak, right? Whether that's ChatGPT, I tend to lean towards Gemini. You could use Grok, you can use Claude. I mean, there's lots of different ways to go about it. But let's just say, like Laura was saying, that you had a success story. Somebody, you made somebody's day, you fixed their problem, whatever it was. Why not just, I don't like to type. I've been typing for a long time since I was probably junior high, right? So I would much rather talk. So why not talk to Gemini, for example? Go to google.gemini.com and just start talking to it and just say, hey, I would like to start crafting an article and this is what it's about, right? And so you literally can talk to it and just give it a quick synopsis of what you just experienced or what your customer just experienced and talk it out and say, write me a 2000 word article or whatever it is based on this topic, right? And so you've given it the context. You've told your story. You could throw in some geographical things into it. Or when it comes up with the first draft, for example, you can say, yep, that about really sums up what I was trying to convey. But now, can you also mention a few things? Talk to it. It's you're just having a communication and a conversation with this assistant. Is the way I look at it. So you talk to it and say, "Yep, that looks good. Can you add these key points?" From there, it can spit out some written content, and you now have the basis for a written article or blog post. Have you tried that before, Laura?
I have, and I think one of the tips that I'll share was I always ask, what details am I forgetting? Or what else would make this that much stronger? And because whatever platform you're using is, you're providing details, but it will actually push back or say, that was great, but tell me more about this, that, or the other. And so if you also let the platform know what you are going to be using the content for, that will strengthen it and it will come back and ask you specific questions so that it has information to give you a complete picture or round out the article, the story, whatever you might be looking for.
Yes, I think those are very good points. The other thing is let's just use Gemini, for example. Once you've had it write an article, obviously you want to proofread it. You want to make sure it is not hallucinating and it is giving valid information. But once you've got that together, you can even ask it to say, hey, can you make sure that there are some keywords in here that I think are important because I'm going to put this on my website? Can you also put in 4 or 5 FAQ, frequently asked questions, that pertain to this scenario? So whether you're doing it as a success story you're talking about or more of an educational situation, then you could do the same thing. I think it may be a little more valid if you're doing something that's more educational versus a success story, but it could work either way. But if you've now are doing something educational where people are using the internet and they're using the AI tools to ask questions, right? It's much more asking than searching like it used to be. And so if you can fit something in there, especially have it help you with some frequently asked questions about if you're educating people on why they would want to do XYZ for their hybrid car or whatever it is, then tell it, ask it, get those pieces in there for that content. Once you've got that written content in there, you've had it help you with some of the search engine parts of it, and you've gotten some frequently asked questions in there. You could then say, "This looks great. Can you create 3 social media summaries for this article? Can you create a graphic for social media that is going to also emphasize what this is about. Again, like Laura said, talk to it and say, and let me know if there's any questions you have for me, or is there anything you can think of I left out? Please ask. So you can do those things. And then from there, you could say, this is great. I've got an article. I've got some social media stuff now. Can you also give me a script, a video script, so that I can create an educational YouTube video, for example? You don't have to use YouTube. You could just do it live on Facebook or whatever you wanted to do, but you now have a general script. And so these are ways you can create content. You're not just relying on the AI tool to come up with everything. You're feeding it valid information about your knowledge or your success story or anything that you want it to be about. Then you're leveraging the power of what it can do for you to speed it up, right?
Absolutely. And I would also add, don't forget to add a call to action. So if your desire is for them to read more and go to another article, or is it to call you to learn more about this, or to go and view, say it was something that you were doing an article about, something that is your service department or something, you can go ahead and direct them either to a call now, a learn more, or take action kind of button. I would encourage that element also to be included.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. Leverage it to put a bow on it, to finalize everything that you've got now, and put in that CTA, that call to action, where it's telling them next steps or how to contact you, or share it with a friend, whatever your call to action is. Again, I'm not the best wordsmith. I don't like typing, so why would I not use a tool like this where I can talk to it, get all this information. And then once you're done, you can literally you can say things like, "Okay, can you put this in format for my website with HTML structure so that it has the right tags and SEO features in there for whatever the case may be." If you're doing that yourself, obviously, a lot of shops aren't going to be doing doing it themselves. They're going to be using an agency or some sort of somebody in your team to do this for you. But again, even if you're using an agency, they're going to ask you, "Hey, what do you want to talk about? What is your latest and greatest successes? What can you educate people on? What can you tell us about how you're a pillar in your location because of your reputation?" So it's just another step to be able to either utilize yourself, pass along to your team, or send over to your marketing agency. Say, "Okay, here's several things that you can now utilize," and then they can run with it from there.
I would agree, and it keeps everything fresh. It feels that it's so much because of the steps that you just laid out for your visitors and listeners, viewers, I should say. They are able to do a piece sometimes just once a month, but now maybe once a week and maybe even a few times a week. And that starts setting them apart from everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you can put out good quality content in as many places as possible, it's a proven fact that you're going to get more information. You're going to get more viewers, more customers, and that type of thing. You're going to get more exposure on the internet. So why would you not? I mean, it's just so less time consuming than it used to be, and so this can really help your business in the long run. So
Yes.
hopefully that's helpful, because that's the whole goal, right?
It is, and I think that you just laid it out in very easy to do steps.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's the thing, we don't always necessarily think of these things if we're busy being an expert at what we do. In your case, a lot of people's case, maybe you're an expert at running your shop and making people happy and fixing the issues. But how do you showcase it? How do you make it into content? So here's your tip of the week, and run with that. And like always, share, like, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and we will see you next time on America's Best Shops.